Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Tim, we got to come up with another name for you, the Powerful Man Matthews.
Why?
I was thinking about that. I know you
Why?
love it.
You
I know you
jealous?
love it, but we'll figure out something else. We
What?
are live, guys, listening to this on the podcast, whether you're watching us on YouTube, watching us on Facebook, or listening to this on Stitcher, iTunes, or wherever you choose to digest the show. We are also live in our Facebook group, which is something we are now doing on Fridays, just one episode here or there to really get the guys. So giving that context, because obviously going from audio focus to visual where we can see ourselves on screen, it's just a little bit different. So I want to give the guys that are listening to this in their earbuds a little bit of a heads up on the descriptives.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in because I know the guys in the community have been on with us for a few minutes now. So, how to become instantly attractive to your wife? What do you think, Doug, when you hear this title?
I love it. Right? Who doesn't want to be instantly attractive to their wife, right? Who doesn't want to be instantly attractive to any woman, but especially your wife, the woman that you committed basically to the end of time, till death do us part, for better or worse, all of those things. Who doesn't want to be instantly attractive by that?
And what does it mean to you to be instantly attractive to your wife?
I love it when my wife compliments me. When she walks around the kitchen, grabs my ass, it's a great feeling because she's desiring me. She wants me, right? And that's it's a confidence booster, right? You just know you're on your game, or after a workout, your wife walks by and she kind of goes, and licks her lips or grabs your arms, right? And just feels them, goes, wow, whatever it is, right? For you guys, it's all different for all of us. But, having that instant attraction, that confidence, that boosts you, you can take it on to the workplace. And you can take it immediately into the bedroom, which is even better. You can go all over with that. But that feeling of being desired as well, right? You have masculine and feminine energy, but everybody likes that feeling of being wanted.
Yeah, I'd agree. So I wanted to share a quick pitfall that I would say the vast majority, 90% of the guys that I speak with who apply for the program, they are making this mistake. And, this isn't to jump on these guys. I've made it too. It's an easy mistake to make. But it's also a mistake that could cost some people their marriage if they didn't correct it, depending on if they're on the brink of divorce, let's say. Now, what usually happens for guys when they come to us, because obviously, the activation method is all about how to fix your marriage without talking about it, right? So what happens, or what's happening for the guys when they come to us is for so long, for so many years, decades, they've been focused on the business because as guys, we believe that the way to provide is to make money, right? We go out there, we work hard, we put a roof over the head, food on the table, holidays, vacations, cars, whatever it is, right? Yeah, or on there. And it's very easy to believe that that's our role and the way to provide. So if you imagine a business over here on the left-hand side, right? You focus there 5, 10, 20 years, however long it is. What usually happens in that place, because we believe that's the way to provide, we miss the warning signs, right? We miss the warning signs that the wife is upset. She wants more time with us. She wants us to be more present. She wants to just do little things, take the bin out before she has to ask you to do it. Pick the kids up from school without an argument, So we miss it. We think they're just tiny, tiny things, right? But it can kind of become like death by 1,000 paper cuts in a marriage over time. And then one day, she can then say, hey, look, this isn't working for me. I think we should separate. Or if things don't change, then I think we should separate. Or I think we should go to counseling, or whatever the line is that they use, at which point it's usually a bit of a shock. Where's this coming from? I knew things could have been better, but I didn't realize they were that bad. At which time the pendulum swings from being all the way over on the left-hand side focused on business, whoosh, all the way over to the right-hand side focused on the marriage and trying to fix it. At which point, the guys then start to do all those little things that the wife was asking them to do and extra. So they'll start washing the clothes. They'll start doing the dishes. They'll start picking the kids up from school. They'll go to the shop and have some, as one guy told me, some iron brews in the fridge for when his wife comes home. And his wife literally said to him, "Why are you buying me these iron brews?" He's like, "Whoa, what's your favorite drink? I thought I'd get you some iron brews so when you finish work, you had a drink." And she's like, "Why are you buying me these? I don't want you to buy these." At which point he's confused, right? Because it's a favorite drink. She's just done a long shift at work. It's iron brews, right? The other guy was like, "Tim, I don't get this. I'm doing everything she wants me to do now. I'm washing the clothes. I'm picking the kids up." Because I asked him, "What have you tried and why hasn't it worked?" And this is what he was trying. And when I asked him, "Why hasn't it worked?" he says, "Well, do you know what? I think the problem's my wife. I think it's her. I think she's depressed and she's got to go see the therapist. And when she sees a therapist, maybe that'll change everything in the marriage." And I understood where he was coming from. I get that train of thought. It's so easy to think I'm now doing the things that she wanted me to do. How can she now be even more annoyed? So the reason why this usually pushes her further away is because you react at a time when she's been asking you to do things for a while anyway. You then start doing these things coming from a really needy place of needing to win her back and wanting to win her back, and she can smell that a mile off. As much as we'll try and think that we are the superior species, if there is one, women are a lot smarter and intuitive than guys. Well, a lot more intuitive, not smarter. A lot more intuitive than guys for the most part, right? And we think we're being really cunning, taking the washing out, doing the dishes, and that she doesn't realize that, really we're just doing it to please her and hoping that this moment will pass and, we'll make up and then I can go back to doing what I was doing before. So it's in this place when the pendulum swings that it pushes her further away. And it causes a lot of confusion for guys. The reason why it pushes them further away is because of the neediness and the desperation, the place that it comes from. You start being this decisive, present man in the house. The guy that hasn't really been in the house all this time, he's been there, but he's not been there. It starts to shake everything up. Who is this guy? Where has this guy come from? I don't recognize this guy. How long is this can't last for long. How long is this going to stay around? How long until it's just all back to normal? And he's doing the same thing as before, which is why she pulls away even more, because she can't trust it, right? Now, there's a point in the middle. So this whole situation, this pitfall is called the pendulum. There's a point in the middle where the pendulum swung all the way from the left. What are you laughing at? All the way over from the left to the right. And it can settle in the middle, where you can have a balance between both of these. And we're going to dive into this bit a little bit more, because it's within this little spot that you can become instantly attractive to your wife. But before we dive into that, Doug, what's your experience with this pendulum?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had it early on in my relationship with my wife, and it's kind of the idea of, there's two things, right, that I want to share here. One is the idea of, you call it bins, we call it trash, for example, right here in the States. And, your wife or partner, your partner talks about, "Hey, I need you, get out the trash, do the dishes. You don't help around the house." That was what it was for me, right? I worked a lot. You don't help her out around the house. So I come home, I'm like, fine, cool. Today I'm going to kill it. I'm going to, knock out this to-do list of things around the house. I'll vacuum, listen to an audiobook or something. I'll throw my headphones in. I'll do the dishes, trash, kind of like almost like the Tasmanian devil, right? I'm just going to crush this cleaning.
Yeah, I've been there.
This cleaning has got nothing on me. That kind of mentality, I'm going to crush it. I distinctly remember doing this, and I was like the man at cleaning it. Just getting it done. Boom. It was awesome. I'm knocking out an audiobook. I'm doing this. And I remember her still being upset and just remember grabbing the trash going, what the fuck? Like, what do you want? You said you wanted this. I'm doing it. What's wrong with you? What's your problem? And just anger and frustration built up so high inside of me. And realizing going back and realizing that kind of old adage that people say, right? When they say, why did she leave me? I gave her everything. Well, you gave her everything except for what she really wanted, right? That's why she left. And the reality is, especially with women, right, is they're going to tell you one thing, but really what they want is something different. A lot of these are tests, guys. And they're testing whether your fortitude is there, whether you're really seeing them, and whether you really understand what it is they want. Do you understand your partner? Right? And that was something that I learned, Tim. There's a lot of things I learned in that situation. One is I'm really good at cleaning when I want to be. Two is knowing that, hey, what is really being asked? Is this when you have toddlers, guys, right? Your kids are going to throw a fit. Right? Is they throwing a fit because they're a bad kid, or are they throwing a fit because they want attention? There's a difference there, right? But at the same time, you need to find out what really is going on, right? Mm-hmm. What really is happening within your relationship to get there. And the other side of this is, again, it's headboard banging sex. It's an amazing time going through it.
So let's hone in then on this middle part, this balance between, the focus on the business and the family. Because the reality is, your wife doesn't want you to be, for the most part, most women anyway, she doesn't want the pendulum to be so far over to being focused on the family, because then you lose your purpose. You lose that direction in life that maybe your business, right? Because that side of you, she finds attractive, right? That direction, that decisiveness. But she doesn't find it attractive when you're lost in it. Right? When you're coming home at the end of the day exhausted with nothing left to give, unloading all the problems of the day onto her, pulling her down and making her feel drained as you offload, right? Because then you don't have control over your purpose. Your purpose, your direction has control over you, and that takes away from your ability to be decisive at home because you don't have any energy left. So she doesn't want the pendulum to be so focused on the family. She also doesn't want it to be so focused on business that, like I said, you walk in through the door with nothing left to give. So there's a nice sweet spot in the middle that this pendulum can just swing back and forth between. And it's in this spot that you can become instantly attractive to your woman. And, we've had a conversation in the group this week talking a lot about, neediness, being unattractive to a woman, and what makes a guy attractive, and decisiveness versus indecisiveness. So let's zoom in on that little balance there, Doug, and what it actually means to operate as a man, as a family man, in the household, in a way whereby you've got that balance taken care of, and you can become instantly attractive to your woman.
Yeah, I mean, the thing here, guys, is think about it in this perspective. If your woman stopped taking care of herself, if she had no energy, she was just always tired, laying on the couch, maybe depressed, right? It just wouldn't be attractive to you. Well, that's what a lot of guys have become. And so on the other side of this is knowing your purpose, knowing who you are as a man. When you know who you are as a man, you have such clear direction as a leader that it's charismatic. It's sexy to your woman, right? Instantly just there. Even if you don't drop 10 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever it is you need to do, having that clarity of purpose and that direction is going to give you your true North Star, and it's going to give you a sense of purpose. So when she comes home and she's like, hey, you didn't take out the trash, you could be like, who cares, right? Relax. And you can be in a space of complete calm and just who you are. And that's unflappable, right? If you're unflappable as a man, right, your wife knows that she is safe. She has security. She can't mess with you. That means the outside world can't mess with you. Therefore, you can protect her. That's really sexy to a woman, right? For most women, the idea of certainty and safety are two of their highest needs, right? They need to think about it anthropologically, like back in the day. Men are just physiologically, by nature, generally stronger, right? We can protect. And so women need to feel protected. Now, today, a lot of our needs are met right? But she wants to know that you can stand your ground, right? This doesn't mean being a jerk, right? It just means standing your ground. Your woman could be a complete bitch to you. And you could still, if you are unflappable, you just sit there and you laugh, right? She's going to test you. And if you're just laughing, you're like, no, I'm going to go work out, or no, I'm going to go out with the boys, or no, I'm going to go do this, right? That's what I'm going to do, right? I'm not dissing you. That's the difference, right? If you do it from a sense of you're filling your cup, hey, look, I'll take out the trash later. Right now, I'm doing something for myself that's going to help our family, right? Thanks so much for reminding me. That's a totally different energy right there.
Yeah, and also when she does test you in that place as well, when you've got that certainty of who you are, so you're not burnt out and exhausted from work by having the pendulum so focused over there, you're able to, you tolerate a lot less from her as well, because you have the ability to do it either with a playful nature, like Doug was saying. For me, I'll always try the playful approach first with Amelia, and then I'll sometimes just do it before she asks as well, or I'll try the playful approach. And sometimes she can just be a bit of a princess, right? And she can be throwing a bit of a fit, and she can start to be unreasonable, really, quite honestly, at which point I can hold my ground and say, listen, I'm not going to stand here and tolerate while you're going there. If you want to do that, this reminds me completely of a few months ago, right? We were going hiking one Saturday, and we were supposed to set off at a certain time. We got up late. We chose to stay in bed a little bit longer and have fun there. And we got about an hour. we're about an hour late, and we were packing the car. And I put the dogs in the car, got all the stuff there, and I was the one that was driving, so everything was ready to go in the car. And then Amelia got in, and she said, "Why didn't you take all the stuff out of the car?" And I was like, "Well, what are you talking about? Like, it's fine. We're in the car. We're good to go. Let's just set off. We're late. Come on, it's gonna be sunset soon." And she just wouldn't let it go. And at first, I was entertaining it and defending myself, right? Which isn't a good thing to do in some instances, because then you're getting sucked into it. You don't remain unflappable if you know exactly where you're coming from. So you don't want to be defending yourself in that spot necessarily. But anyway, I reached a point in the conversation where I just said, look, if you want to continue this disagreement, I'm not going to apologize for what I did, because I believe what I did was right. You see it differently. That's okay. And if you want to continue this disagreement, then you can do that, but just know that I'm not going to participate in it. And if you want to keep this mood up for the rest of the day, you can do that, but it's not going to spoil my hike. At which point, it can draw a line, right? So point being here, guys, when you're able to be in this position where you know who you are, like Doug was saying, with that level of certainty and energy, because you're not burnt out from business, then you're able to have these conversations. You're less triggered, right? You're less stressed. You're not like a volcano ready to erupt at any point. So you're able to be patient and playful and assertive and have boundaries and look her in the eye and just pierce her with the look, And there's something I want to touch on as well that I think is a common misconception that causes this whole pendulum situation in the first place. We are taught to believe that the way to provide is to go out there and make money, right? But Doug, you touched on a point a moment ago that is absolutely key. Women want certainty and safety. And the first way in which they want that isn't financial, it's emotional. So when you're so focused on work, coming in through the door in an evening, exhausted, with nothing left to give, thinking you're doing a great job because you're bringing home more money, so you don't understand why when she's got everything she could ever want, there's problems. Well, what she really wants in that situation isn't the financial safety, it's the emotional safety. So if you don't have a routine at the end of your working day to switch off from work mode and onto family mode, right, and have energy to be able to walk through the door and be excited about spending the evening with your wife and your kids and cooking and playing and flirting, then you're going to bring work home with you, and with it, you're going to be there, but you're not going to be there, which by default means you're not providing the emotional safety. So she then does one of two things. Either she rises and becomes the alpha and makes decisions to lead the family because the guy is there, but he's not really there. Or she falls and becomes anxious or depressed or even seeks salvation in the arms of another man. We've had that a lot of times. Regardless of which occurs in that position, it forces her to harden, right? And when she hardens, essentially becomes more masculine, that's where the attraction between you guys goes away. Because she's in her masculine, you're in your masculine. It's kind of like two magnets that used to be north and south and they'd attract. It's kind of like one of them's been turned around to north, and then north and north, and they repel. But most guys don't realize this, and they don't understand why the intimacy goes, the sex goes down. The smack on the ass, like Doug was saying, starts to go away. The feel of the bicep doesn't happen. She doesn't look at you like a king anymore because she looks at herself like a king versus relaxing like a queen. Anything you want to add on that point, Doug?
There's a lot of points there. So, really what it comes down to 100%, guys, is your inner game, your confidence with yourself. If you know who you are, that's why I love, the alpha reset, right? You know who you are. You need to reclaim it. If you're insecure inside, she can tell. When she tests you, that's why you're snapping, right? That's why you snap back. Like, don't tell me to take out the trash. I do all this work, whatever your story is. I do all this work and I'm working my butt off and I'm doing these things. And did you not see I did the dishes? All these stories have to do with insecurity within inside of you. It's all has to do with you. It's all in you, right? And you got to start off with a clean slate, right? You got to start off with a complete reset of what's going on for you. Because the truth is, if you're secure inside, really secure, right, then you are unflappable and those things don't bother you, right? And Tim, we always use the idea that if I were to tell you, any guy watching this right now or listening to this, if I got up to you and go, hey, you're purple, you're going to be like, whatever, man. You're not going to care. However, if I say something that you think is true about yourself, you're not man enough, you're too fat, you're too ugly, you're too tall, you're too short, you don't provide, you're not here, whatever. If you believe that to be true within inside yourself and you're not secure enough to be able to process it and have everything, your game's tight, you're going to snap and you're going to get mad, you're going to get bitchy yourself, you're going to have all kinds of problems with it, right? And she's going to know, right? She's going to know. And if I was there, I would know too, right? She's going to know, she's going to feel it. That's not sexy. That's not a man. That's not strong. That's not strength. You're not strong enough to handle your own stuff. And if you can't handle your stuff, how are you going to be able to handle your kids? How are you going to be able to handle her and all her craziness, right? Women know that they're crazy, right? The feminine energy is wild. If you can't handle the wild energy within inside of yourself, how are you going to handle her energy, right? And I can tell you on the other side of this, guys, when just like this guy that commented, I'm not going to say his name, but commented in our group that we have, the private community outside of this Facebook group, is he's started to make shifts and changes within inside of himself, and his soon-to-be ex-wife, maybe sounds like she might be coming back now. She's starting to see it. It's sexy, right? It's sexy. They can smell it. And that's how you become attractive to your wife. The hacks, the techniques, those are good, right? But they won't last unless you take care of your inner game first. And I know that's not what anybody wants to hear. They want to know, give me the trick. What do I say? Or what are a couple of things I do, Doug? Right? No. Just take care of your inner game first. Then the tactics, the hacks, the little things you can do, right? Then those come out. But not until you take care of yourself. You got to know who you are. Right? And it sounds really interesting and different or whatever. Like, know who I am. I've been with myself for 40 years. Of course I know who I am. Bullshit. You probably don't. You got to know who you are. You got to be able to stand your ground. And standing your ground is not just being like puff up your chest and like standing your ground in a fight. No, standing your ground means standing inside of your presence of yourself. Right? The storm that is you, the human being. Knowing who you are at the core level, loving who you are, And then you can start proceeding. Once you do that, man, you're going to be sexy as hell to your wife. And that's a huge difference, right? That's getting the slap on the ass, invited, hey, let's go to bed, by a woman who maybe for you guys or somebody else, we talk to guys all the time, maybe hasn't done it ever or years for you. But it starts with doing the inner stuff, the inner work, right? And how do you do that? Well, Tim's mentioned a lot of things that you could do here. What's your morning routine? The Alpha Rise and Shine program, right? How are you behaving at home? Are you just stressed out coming home? As soon as you come home, you just talk about work and all the problems at work. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody does, right? You didn't do that when you first started dating. I can guarantee it, right? When's the last time you dated your wife? When's the last time you've really taken care of your side of the street, so to speak, rather than just pointing at the other person? Well, maybe she's, as Tim started this whole episode, maybe she's the problem, right? She's the one. Take care of yourself. Worst case scenario, when you take care of yourself and you up your game, if you guys split apart, you're a better man. And the way I look at it's like a stock, right? Your stock has gone up. The woman you're going to attract is going to be even better. Odds are, and we see it time and time again, is that when a man goes through a reset, like the alpha reset, and goes through a program or anything else, right? And then really starts to get who he is, stand his ground, the woman comes back. He comes 10 times more attractive. Right? We've seen this in men so many times. I can't tell you. I've done it in my own life. Tim's done it. The other coaches have too. It's an amazing difference, but it all starts with the fundamentals and making sure you're doing them on a consistent basis and filling your cup first. That's the key to dress nice. Okay, great. Right? Do those things, but comes to the key. The key is the consistency in your inner game and how inflappable you are there.
Yeah, so true. And guys, this is, I don't know if you've heard of us talk about living from the outside in versus inside out. Now, this is the whole point of the inside out living protocol that the guys get given in the activation method, right? And I don't want to just keep talking about that, but point being is, it's essentially, living from the inside out. When the guys come to us, if you imagine a triangle, just quickly, at the base of that triangle is business, right? Most guys focus on business as their foundation because that's what they think they need to do to provide. So business, I'm going to focus there. Then above business, it's wealth, so money. Then above wealth, it's relationships, but there isn't really much energy left to give the relationships. They don't really rise that high. Above that, it's health and then self, but those two don't really get touched. Hence the sleepless nights, the anxiety, putting on weight, drinking the beer, all of it, right? That's living from the outside in. That's when you walk through the door in an evening and you're either working late and missing dinner, constantly chasing after the next deal in business, or you are coming in through the door but thinking about work, unable to switch off, offloading onto your wife and your kids, or even been snapping at them or pouring a cocktail or checking out, whatever it is, right? The 5 agonies. When you live from the inside out, you flip that on its head, right? And at the bottom of the pyramid becomes self. This is where you focus on your inner game, like Doug was talking about, your routines, your morning routine, your routine at the end of your workday so you can switch off from work and switch on to your family. You being solid in yourself so your cup is overflowing. So the people get the overflow of you, your staff, your wife, your kids. Above that is health. At this point, you value your health. You increase your capacity as a leader because now you start working out again, even if it's going for walks in nature or going to the gym or whatever it is for you. You start working out again. You start eating clean again, right? Then above that is relationships. You prioritize your relationships next, and you take this foundation. It's like building a house, right? You start with the foundations. Self is the foundation, but from which you can then go into the relationship and be present and be unflappable. And it's in this place that you don't need your wife. You're with her, not because you need her, but because you are choosing her. And when you are choosing her, she senses that you don't need her. And guess what happens? Oh, shit. Who is this guy? Wow. He's not at my every whim. He's looking, he's meeting my needs without me even saying anything. He's engaging in conversation with me. He's asking me questions about my day. He's giving me a little tap on my ass. Shit, who is this guy? It's the charisma, right? The happy-go-lucky guy that I'm sure she fell in love with. He's there. This is where you become attractive instantly to her because you don't need her. You're making decisions even on what to eat for dinner, where to go for a walk, what to watch on TV, you're just making decisions because you're in tune, boom, with your yes and no, boom, 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 rather than being drained and just say, I don't know, whatever you want, babe. Too many guys become Mr. Nice Guy and it turns the woman off. So the third level is relationships. Above that then becomes wealth. But wealth takes on a new meaning because you start to have the energy of wealth, of true abundance. So you're not just reliant on money. And above that, it's business, right? This is living from the inside out. It's in this space, guys, where you really become instantly attractive. And this is something you could start doing right now, right? You could literally, after this show, you could take your journal out, draw that triangle. You can even go into the units. The guys that are watching the Facebook group, go into the units. There's a training there on how to fix your marriage without talking about it. It's all in there. And you could just draw this out for yourself and map out what it would look like for you to live this way. Put your morning routines in. Put the times that you finish at work in. You might find that it's difficult for you to finish work at certain times. You may get to cut some things out of your schedule, delegate a bit differently, whatever it is. Because whilst the pendulum's so focused on business, living from the outside in, you're going to repel the woman in your life. But if it's in the middle doing this nice dance because you were walking your path, just like you were when you first met, she wants some of that. She's coming for that, right? Because your cup is overflowing into her. She feels it. So Doug, in summary, any other quick things the guys could do right now and implement for the guys listening? I know we covered a lot there, but just to summarize, any quick things?
So summary, guys, this is time to really look at how you're showing up for yourself. And I would write this down. How are you showing up for yourself? Right? Are you showing up like a best friend? Are you showing up just going through the motions? How are you showing up for yourself? And the second is, how do you actually showing up for your spouse, your wife? Right? What's really going on? When you come home, how much energy do you have? Right? What are you talking about? What are the conversations? Right? Are you playful and energetic like you were probably when you were first dating? Right? Are you doing that? If not, it's time to make a change. It's time to make a shift. And then, are you reacting? Right? Are you reacting when she tests you, shit tests you, pushes you? If you are, this is time to make some massive, massive changes. How do you do it? Well, you start taking care of yourself. Alpha, rise, and shine. Morning routine. Step 1. Step 2, right? You figure out what is your heck yes or heck no's, right? Or your fuck yes or your fuck no's, right? What are they? And stop kowtowing to just keep the peace. It's not time to keep the peace. You've got one shot at this game we call life, right? It doesn't mean you go be a jerk. It just means don't do things just to keep the peace. I know a lot of you are doing that. You're taking out the trash, or you're running errands, or you're doing whatever just to keep the peace. Stop. This is your life. This is your shot, right? And the next one is date her. What it would be like to date her, right? Because if you're not dating her, somebody else will be. Right? It's just pretty much guaranteed. We have the advantage, Tim and I and the other coaches, of seeing thousands and thousands of men, right? Guys just like you. So we know what this end result is. It's 2 paths. You get to pick which path that you want to be on. A path that fills your soul and hopefully and ideally has your wife looking at you attractive as a sexy man again. Or the other path, the path where you're just kind of going through the motions, keeping the peace, and your wife's going to find a man. Because that's not a man, by the way, right? I'm not judging you. I'm just trying to wake you up here. Right? Because I don't want you to go through the hardships that we see so many men go through. So guys, it's time to take action. It's time to reset who you are as a man and really step up. Step up to the challenge. Make it a game. Make it fun. Make it playful. Be the CFO. We talk about that. Be the CFO of your house. No, that doesn't mean budgeting and stuff like that. The chief fun officer. Be the CFO. Come in. Be playful. Have energy. Right? As Tim said, make sure that pendulum is in the middle. It's about balance. But it starts with the balance inside of you first, then it goes out. And if you don't know how to do this, get help, right? Just raise your hand, right? Don't be in the teenage phase of, well, I know everything and therefore I don't need anybody's assistance. BS. Tim and I, collectively, we've had coaches probably our entire adult lives. coaches, mentors. We've taken courses. I'm not where I'm at with my wife because it's always been easy. It hasn't. I'm there because I've done the work and I've worked on it. And it's an awesome outcome, and I want all you guys to have it. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. So guys, take the step. Take the step today. At any moment of even any decision or insight, do the smallest action first. Do whatever you can. Go for a walk right now, right? Do whatever you can for yourself. Go for a workout. Read a book. Do something that fills your cup, but make sure you do it now.
Love it. So you guys in the community, if you want to stay on, we're going to dive into some Q&A with you guys now. For the guys that are listening on the podcast, thank you for stopping by. As Doug said, take some action now on this. Do not let this moment pass by and get on with your busy day and then wonder why in a week's time you're arguing with your wife and she's turning her back on you when you get into bed at night instead of turning towards you. So guys, thank you for stopping by. Doug, some wisdom. Thank you, my friend. And guys, we'll catch you on the next episode of The Powerful Man Show.